When my father passed away, he left me a ring. It wasn't worth much, a small gold band, worn smooth from 30-something years of wear. He told me it was the most valuable thing he'd ever owned. I thought he was joking. Then I started researching gold. I wanted to understand, why does humanity care so much about this stuff? Wars have been fought over it. Empires have crumbled because of it. Explorers crossed the Atlantic for it. Kings murdered each other for it. For thousands of years, no single substance has driven every civilization, every culture, every era of human history to the same kind of madness. So I did the math. What if you took every single gram of gold ever pulled out of the earth, from the tombs of pharaohs, stolen from the Inca Empire by Spanish conquistadors, dug up during the California Gold Rush, stacked in the vaults beneath the Federal Reserve, and yes, my father's worn-down ring, and piled it all together? How big would that pile actually be? When I finally got the answer, I sat at my desk for a long time and didn't say a word. First, we need to know exactly how much gold we're dealing with. According to the World Gold Council, from the beginning of recorded human history to today, we have mined approximately 200,000 metric tons of gold. Let's build some intuition around that number. 1 metric ton of gold weighs roughly the same as a fully loaded F-150 pickup truck. 200,000 metric tons. That's 200,000 of those trucks. Line them up bumper to bumper, and you'd stretch from New York City to Philadelphia with room to spare. But here's something most people don't realize about gold. It is extraordinarily dense. Gold's density is 19,300 kilograms per cubic meter. That's 19 times denser than water, 2.5 times denser than iron. Which means that for any given weight, gold takes up far less space than your gut tells you it should. So I converted it to volume. 200,000 metric tons equals 200 million kilograms. Divide by the density, and you get a total volume of roughly 10,400 cubic meters. Let me translate that into something you can actually picture. A standard Olympic swimming pool holds about 2,500 cubic meters of water. That means every ounce of gold ever mined in all of human history would fill approximately 4 Olympic swimming pools. I wrote that number down on a piece of paper and looked up from my desk. That's it. That's all there is. And humanity has been killing each other over this stuff for thousands of years. Now let's take all that gold and stack it into the shape of a mountain. Mountains aren't perfect geometric shapes, but we can approximate with a cone. Real mountain slopes sit at around 30 degrees, which means the height works out to about 57% of the base radius. Plug that into the formula for the volume of a cone and solve for the dimensions. 10,400 cubic meters of gold formed into a mountain with a 30-degree slope, base radius of about 85 feet, peak height of about 50 feet. 50 feet, I wrote that down. Then next to it I wrote 3 words, a 5-story building. Not the Rockies, not the Alps, not any mountain you'd find on a map. This so-called gold mountain, dropped in the middle of Manhattan, wouldn't make you slow down as you drove past. You'd assume it was leftover debris from a construction site that hadn't been cleaned up yet. The Statue of Liberty stands 305 feet tall. That's 6 times taller. The Washington Monument is 555 feet, 11 times taller. The Eiffel Tower is 1,083 feet, 22 times taller. Mount Everest is 29,032 feet, 590 times taller. I remembered a documentary I watched as a kid about the Spanish conquistadors. They were searching for El Dorado, a legendary city supposedly built entirely from gold. They killed countless people for it, lost countless men for it, got swallowed by jungles, and drowned in rivers chasing it. The city was never found because it never existed. But even if it had, even if the whole thing was pure gold, it would have been just one small corner of that 50-foot pile sitting in front of us right now. I have to be honest, the number isn't complete yet. There's still a significant amount of gold buried underground, waiting to be mined. The U.S. Geological Survey estimates remaining known reserves at about 50,000 metric tons. Add all of that in, and our mountain grows from 50 feet to maybe 56 feet tall. Barely noticeable. But what about deeper in the Earth? Scientists estimate that Earth's core contains somewhere around 160 quadrillion metric tons of gold, enough to coat the entire surface of the planet in a half-meter-thick layer of solid gold. But that gold sits 3,100 miles underground, at temperatures exceeding 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit. No human technology can touch it. it might as well not exist. The gold that humanity has actually mined, fought over, and bled for, that's the 50-foot pile. That's all of it. After I worked through all of this, I took that ring out of my pocket and held it in my palm. My father wore it for 30 years. It weighs about 4 grams. If you divided every gram of gold ever mined equally among all 8 billion people on Earth today, each person would get about 25 grams. Barely more than a wedding band. Gold isn't valuable because there's a lot of it. It's valuable because there's almost none of it. And that scarcity, that's what built everything. When the conquistador Hernán Cortés arrived at the Aztec capital and saw temples covered in gold, what did he do? He tore them down, melted everything into bars, and shipped it back to Seville. Where is that gold today? After 500 years of changing hands, it's probably sitting in a central bank vault somewhere, or hanging in the window of a jewelry store on Fifth Avenue. Humanity didn't create gold. We can't destroy it either. We just keep moving it from one place to another, and for that, we've launched wars, built navies, raised empires, and sold our souls. If some civilization out there in the galaxy has been watching us for thousands of years, tracing all of our chaos back to its source, here's what they'd find. 4 swimming pools worth of metal. Metal you can't eat, can't drink, can't burn for fuel, can't breathe, just very heavy, very yellow, and very rare. We decided it mattered, and because we all agreed, it really did. I slipped the ring back into my pocket. I finally understood what my father meant when he called it the most valuable thing he owned. It wasn't about what the gold was worth on the market. It was about the fact that he decided it was worth something, that we all did. That's the whole secret of gold right there. Its value was never in the metal. It was in the silent agreement, made across thousands of years and billions of people, that it mattered. And once enough of us believed that, it became true. Maybe that's the most honest mirror humanity has ever held up to itself. Now here's a question worth asking. If we loaded that 50-foot gold mountain onto armored trucks and tried to move it into the most secure vault in America, Fort Knox in Kentucky, would it even fit? I looked into it. The answer might make you laugh. We'll get into that next time.